people keeping swimming pools and stables like those in our parliament right now. You know, this is a joke. Like, I don't know if you're around here, but who's actually running the show down here? Basically, we've got people. We're not civil servants. We don't count ourselves as experts, but I think we could design a better energy system where people who have the least aren't paying the highest rates. You know, I don't know how it's ended up in such a situation. So I'm quite proud that we in FDA have our backs right now to this building. The people who are really going to deliver energy security and net zero are standing ahead of us, and that's quite inspiring. Fuel Poverty Action is XR sets a mission on what is necessary. We've often put forward demands considered at first radical, but have then, to a degree at least, proved to be actually very winnable. We were one of the first groups that demanded a windfall tax in the past couple of years when excess profits began for the oil and gas industry, and working with many groups here today, within a few months we won that. The windfall tax we got, it's a bag of shite, we all know that, but we got it, we won it. We were among the first, well, for several years FPA has been demanding a total ban on the forced switching of customers to prepayment meters, putting them at risk of disconnection. And we've pushed on larger institutions within coalitions like Citizen Advice, for example, who have now come in behind that demand as well. And earlier this year we won at least a moratorium for the past 3 months on forced imposition of prepayment meters. That fight's not over. People might have heard Ofgem's regulations, new regulations released this week, don't go nearly far enough. While the ban has even been in place, we've heard stories of people being manually disconnected now due to refusing prepayment meters. Energy companies going as far as digging up the road outside the house. We've had people writing in, producing seemingly fake warrants produced by debt collectors. So there's really dark business going on here, and we need to stay on top of it. But we've shifted the conversation forward towards a total ban on all energy disconnections, which is exactly what we need. No one in this country can be disconnected from their water supply because it's considered a vital and essential need to life. And that's exactly the case with energy as well. People living in freezing cold and dark homes in the winter is never acceptable. So we're a small group that is already making a reasonably big impact. And we believe that if we continue working with groups like yourselves and potentially getting more people directly involved in our work, something like what we're campaigning for, Energy for All, is very winnable as well. Universal basic energy, so no one falls below minimum needs of heating, lighting, cooking, keeping the fridge running, washing their clothes, all these basic needs that are essential rights for everyone, and no one should be going without. So we hope to continue pushing on that campaign and winning something like that in the very near future. Our group has used a range of tactics so far towards achieving this. A petition we had on change.org received over 660,000 signatures from members of the public, and we followed that up with a manifesto which you can collect a copy of here, signed by over 150 organisations, institutions, political representatives, including not just whole trade unions, political parties, large climate NGOs and grassroots groups as well, but we're also very proud to have had groups that are actively often hidden from discourse in this country sign on to the manifesto as well, and viewing it as something that would improve their lives, such as, for example, groups representing sex workers with an increase in women engaging in sex work as a result of rising bills. Also barge dwelling traveller communities often relying on solid fuels, more expensive form of solid fuels to keep themselves heated, and excluded from current provisions like the Energy Bill Support Scheme. So we're thrilled to have groups like this coming on board and recognising this as an all-encompassing demand that would not only meet people's basic energy needs, but also incentivise decarbonisation and move towards much cheaper renewables like wind and solar that we know would help to bring down the bills, towards energy efficiency, insulating all homes across this country, one of the #1 priorities, as it should be for this government at the moment. So finally, I wanted to say, you know, we work with a lot of people coming into the campaigning space for the first time, looking to kind of upskill them, encourage people to take on more responsibility and escalate pressure as well. Currently we're working with a woman, Helen Timpson, and we'll be out in support of her on the streets immediately following the big one here in London. Helen has been challenging conditions of a scheme called Fuel Direct in the courts. Under this scheme, the DWP can give up to 25% of an individual benefit claimant's benefits directly to utility companies. That's before they pay for rent, for food, for all of these essential costs. 25% can be cut off, whether it's disability benefit, child benefit or whatever, and paid directly to the energy companies. That's the total opposite of energy for all, what we're calling for, and we need to challenge that. So Helen will be in the Court of Appeal. Shockingly, Helen won a victory at the High Court last year, which forces the DUP supposedly to take people's interests into account before enacting this scheme. The DWP are shockingly appealing that victory and want rid of that. They want to be able to do this without any consent from the individuals. So Helen will be in the Court of Appeal this Tuesday and Wednesday coming. We'll be outside there, the Royal Courts of Justice at the Strand, from 9 AM till 10 AM and 12 till 2 PM. Outside the Court of Appeal. So there's been a lot of talk about connecting these issues, fuel poverty and climate crisis. These are exactly the sort of things that we need to be challenging, so we very much hope anyone still in London, both on Tuesday, Wednesday, will join us there. Thank you.
Okay, just to add a couple of things to that. I'm familiar with this building. We've gone in here to support people on district heating systems who are excluded, like the itinerant people on barges and like people with all-electric homes, like many people, are not getting the benefit of the things that are supposed to protect everyone, like Helen Simpson, who I hope that people will come to support. So we've been inside before, and there are civil servants in there who want to do the right thing, but they can't because the government policies are something different. This is supposed to be for energy security. What kind of energy security is it when you can't boil a kettle? Or when you're afraid of a knock at the door with somebody coming to install a prepayment meter? Or if you don't know that your children are going to have a planet to grow up on? What kind of energy security is that? And what kind of net zero, the other part of their name, when they're actually subsidizing oil and gas companies with billions and billions of pounds of taxpayers' money, public money. But I want to say another kind of subsidy, and that is when they bring in a price cap and the government says that they're going to subsidize people's bills, that they're going to hold the bills down by paying money themselves. What that is a transfer of public money to the oil and gas companies to continue investing, continue exploring, continue drilling for these expensive, filthy, climate-changing fuels. And that is not the kind of solution that we're looking for. There are all sorts of other solutions that are being put forward now. There's a social tariff, which they're working on in there, which would be means tested, which means that as soon as you get off the breadline, you lose whatever benefit it was giving you. There's what the Labour Party had called for an end on VAT for energy, whereas other things suffer VAT. Again, it would be in the effect another subsidy because they're already massively exempting these companies from taxes. And instead of taxing, in many cases, the public, the UK public, is actually supporting these companies with our money instead of getting any taxes from them as they get their billions and billions and billions of pounds raked in, speculating and making profit, calling it, blaming the war in Ukraine. That's what they do. And they think they have us over a barrel because they think that anything that the government does to support people who are freezing and dying, like 10,000 die every winter, everything they do to support us, okay, that's very nice. Let's get government support and it will go straight to us. That's what they think. Over a barrel, an oil barrel. But we have a plan to stop that, and that is this energy for all that Stu was talking about. That is a system where money is paid, where people receive enough energy, not even money, but enough energy to cover the basics, like Stu said, the heating, lighting, and so on, and that the money to pay for that comes from the profits of the oil companies. Not only a windfall tax, but a total end to the subsidies that they're now getting, the massive billions that are going to them every year. And that would... will reverse what we have now. The energy pricing system is upside down. We want to turn it right side up. We want people who use more to be paying more. In this system, they'll pay more for what is used beyond need. So people who are heating a mansion and leaving all the lights on there, people who are heating their stables, they'll be paying more for it. And that money will be going towards the people who are now paying the highest prices, which is the ones on prepayment meters, or even, the ones who are not on direct debit, because you can't be on direct debit if you've nothing in your bank account, are paying higher prices. That is upside down, and we aim with our energy bill revolution to turn pricing right side up. So I hope you all will support this. We had warm-ups this winter. A warm-up is when you can't afford to heat your own home and you and your friends go to a nice, cozy public building and hold a speak out there and let people know what's happening. I know Alex Considine, who has organized this picket. And we thank her for organizing this picket, which is so successful. But this winter she also organized warm-ups in the British Museum and in John Lewis and in Liberties. Keeping warm and making clear that people will not put up with being cold while the millions are rolling in for the billionaires, their profits and their exploitation of the planet and of all of us. So, big one for Alex, and thank you all. And please, if you're in an organization, however small it might be a mothers and toddlers group, or it might be Earth First or Friends of the Earth or a big trade union, make sure they sign. Get it from the ground up. Get it from your branch. Make sure that they sign on to this and help us to lobby MPs so that it actually becomes a reality. Thank you.
Well, that was Ruth and Stu, a few policy action. I just want you to give them one more hand, please, if you would feel inclined to do so. So, Ruth and Stu, Fuel Poverty Action! Hello!